Well, hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today we're going to fall down in the mud. Now, today we're going to start putting up the walls on our pig corral, our boar corral, and see if we can mark that part off our list. So if you've been watching the series, this is part 700, 7,000, I don't know. It's all running together. I feel like I've been working up forever. But the game plan, you see our poles here, kind of a loose rectangle. And we're just going to do solid wall with planks, solid walls on the sides, and a gate here in the front where the camera is. So we'll put a 10-foot swing gate here. So I've got, I think about half of my boards on the trailer. It's so muddy, I didn't want to load it down too much. And I've got some 12-footers that I got to transport, which makes that a little tricky on an 8-foot trailer. But we're going to start by putting up these two sections first and get those in place. And I'll show you some of the details of what we're doing. Okay, so what I'm doing, of course, is just filling in the gaps, but I'd mentioned this in previous videos. What I was doing with the telephone poles is screwing 2x4s to the side on either end. That way I'm screwing into the 2x4s, obviously the 4x4 post I'm screwing directly into, and not screwing directly into the telephone poles. And what that gives me is the opportunity to attach on the inside. So when I make the turn, then I can use that advantage as well and have a more secure corral. I'll show you that here in a second. So you can see here when I start my new corner, then obviously I can just put that right in there, screw it in, be very clean, very tight, and keeps the pressure, the bore pressure, of course. All the pressure is to push the fence that way. So if I was just scabbed on the back side of this, then of course they could knock it off. Whew. And I think it's at least 10 degrees cooler over here in the shade. I'm going to be thinking twice about cutting down the rest of these understory trees. It's providing some nice work environment right now. All right, so I got our 4 panel walls up. Went ahead and decided to install them level versus trying to line them up. I don't know, one looks better than the other, but we went 5 courses high. I was planning on 6 originally, but when I started looking at how high that 6 course would be, I really wanted it to be easy for any of us to look over. Kelly to be able to look over, she needed to check on something. I don't know, it just seemed like it was overkill to me. So so I decided to just go with the 5 courses. You know, in putting all this together, I have been remiss. I have tried twice now and forgotten to mention one of you guys, one of you viewers that sent me a gift. Joe McKenzie from Florida. Shout out to Joe. Joe sent me a bunch of self-tapping screws, really nice ones, when we were putting in the new electric fence in the east pasture. Used the box that he sent me. It was great to be able to drill into those pipes, man. It made putting those insulators in super easy. So Joe, really appreciate you doing that. Thanks so much for sending me that those screws. Well, I think I may stand here and enjoy the breeze and the shade a little bit, drink some water, and then we'll move on to our gate. That's the last piece. Alright, so that's that. Made that gate so it could swing all the way through. Not quite sure why I'd ever want to do that. Obviously we'll provide a chain and a latch. And for those of you that I can hear scoffing, the scoffers of pipe gates, you may be saying, now Troy, wait a minute, haven't you had issues before with a pig blowing through a pipe gate? Yes, I have, and I can even link to a video right here of where Merida made one of these pipe gates look like the St. Louis Arch. But I have this gate. I like the openness of the gate. I like the full swing of the gate. The idea would be to, after much deliberation and talking and getting advice, the game plan will be to bring the gilt or the sow to the boars. And the benefits of that were multiple, but the big one is just simply, if you bring the female to the male, then the male doesn't know the path to get back there. So he kind of wants to hang out here, get fat and sassy. You bring the ladies. If you're walking him down there, then he remembers, oh, if I walk down there, I can get some action. So I like this open like this. The plan would be to walk the gilt this way or even trailer her up here. But I think this will be fine. Again, most barriers for pigs are all psychological, because if they want to go through stuff, they'll go through it. If they want to go through this corral wall, he could go through it, especially as they get bigger. So we'll just see. The only other option would be to obviously come in and build something heavy duty or even a head gate type of thing, which I really don't want to choke this down anymore. I love the idea of filling all of this area where the camera is sitting with wood chips. Just filling up, because this is going to become a muddy mess in the wintertime. This will be bottomless since this is all silt and fill in from the creek. So just keep filling it with full of wood chips, and then at some point come in here with a tractor and be able to scoop out a bunch of this, because this would be super rich soil. The pigs are going to poop it up. This will be super rich. They'll have turned it. We'll throw feed and corn in there. It can kind of be like a mini version of Salatin's Pigerator pork, where he does that in the spring. So you just imagine a thick bedding of wood chips here. The boar's pooping on it. If there's feed that's spilled down in it, they're going to turn it and churn it. So that big gate's going to allow me to just bring a tractor right in here, scoop all that out, put it directly in the trailer, and take it to the garden or wherever else we need supercharged soil. So that's what I'm thinking. Obviously some of these low gaps, we'll come back and fill those in. I'm not that worried about them right now. One other addition that may be a nice fall project before it gets cold and rainy would be to come up and take advantage of these high posts here and just build a sloped roof down. So just make a lean-to over that back section of corral. That way that would be a shelter for the guys in the wintertime. They can come down, stay dry. Another reason for them to want to hang out. So again, another allure to cross the bridge here if they become apprehensive to it or what. So probably wouldn't need that until we get into colder weather. So that may be an option for fall to add that as a feature. Or we could even do a covered bridge. That would be kind of old school country. Maybe they'd sleep on the bridge. So what's next on this project? Well, this pretty much wraps up the boar corral, but the last thing I need to do is just get our one leg of electric run down for paddock number 1 to be active, and of course be able to funnel boars into this area. As far as fencing goes around these portions, around the creek, probably do some hog panels or cattle panels, something simple, something basic, because I don't necessarily want electric coming right down to this, but I also don't want to have to overbuild something like I built here. But just something, I want them to have access to this side of the creek so they can get water. There's another watershed that comes down right there. That'll be in paddock number 1. So there's convergence of that stream. Those two streams would be nice for them to have access to that. Cool off, get something to drink, all that type. So we'll have to do creek crossing controls there. Paddock number 2, once we get that fenced in, then they'll probably still have access to this side, but I may limit access to this slip area because I don't want them making that any worse. All right, well, I appreciate everybody watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.